Bloomberg reports that for the first time in years, Venezuela is sending its first crude oil shipment to Israel. That shipment comes just under a month after the U.S. captured the country's former leader, Nicolas Maduro. Since Maduro's takedown and the subsequent U.S. takeover of Venezuela's oil sales, Brent and crude have been on a tear. Brent crude up 10.25%. While West Texas Intermediate up 9%. The oil shipment to Israel comes just as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu flies to Washington for a meeting with President Trump tomorrow in a bid to influence U.S. nuclear talks with Iran. This meeting comes also amid heightening Iranian threats about the Strait of Hormuz. It's that important choke point for the world's crucial oil transfers. Joining me now to navigate the impact on both the global energy markets and the stocks related are the Price Futures Group senior market analyst, Fox Business contributor, and wonderful friend Phil Flynn.
Hey, Liz.
Wow, what do you make of this? This is a big deal. Venezuela, for the first time in, decades, shipping to Israel.
Historic. And so great for America and the hemisphere, because what's happening here, Liz, is something the naysayers said couldn't happen. They said it was going to take years, and that President Trump was making a mistake for going into Venezuela, and it's never going to come back. But so far, in a very short period of time, not only have we seen shipments to Israel today, which is historic, but already to the U.S., and that's keeping these prices low at a critical time, because this tension with Iran normally would have pushed up the price of oil a lot more. Even more than we've seen. And it's keeping it under control. It's keeping market in a good trading range. And I'm really excited about this, because I think Venezuela could turn out to be a new industrial revolution in this hemisphere, which could help everybody, especially America.
That is exactly what the president wants. He wants U.S. integrated oil companies to go down there and start up operations once again. Some of them are not sold on it yet. We shall see. But as we watch the price go up of crude, I would attribute most of that to the tensions with Iran. And the president said if Iran doesn't move soon, he would actually, according to Axios, consider attacking Iran again?
You know, I would think so. And nobody wants to, right? But the Iranian regime has gone nuts, right? I mean, you can't trust these people. Not only have they violated every agreement they ever had with anybody, now, of course, after this uprising, killing their own people, there's just so much pressure to act. You know, to stand up for the people of Iran, who have sacrificed so much. They want a regime change. I don't know, it's always messy. We don't know how to do that. But I do know this. I feel really confident that if President Trump decides to act based on his track record, I think it'll be successful, because you look at what he's done before. The attack on their nuclear thing went really well.
And on top of that, the U.S. just seized another Venezuelan-linked oil tanker, and these shadow fleets, President Trump is shutting them down. So I wouldn't be surprised. We got about 20 seconds left.
Yeah.
Would you buy the refiners, the integrated oils? Which names?
I think I'd buy them all. Right now, I love Chevron. They're going to be a big part of the Venezuelan comeback story. Their dividend just went up. I like nuclear. I would say that GE, thank you, Terra Nova, GE Terra Nova. Heck, if they can split the atom, they should split the stock. It's getting too expensive, but I think it's going to be a great one.
Phil Flynn, wonderful to see you, my friend. And here we go.